All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Odd Taxi, episode
episode
11. All right.
Oh boy.
Last episode dropped us off with a crazy cliffhanger.
Bit of a bombshell.
And now we have to just kind of, sort this out. Because Mitsuya being dead, okay, actual Mitsuya.
Right. But Mitsuya, we've seen since
her, then must be Don-chan's daughter, the boss's friend, because that's where she's been hiding all this time.
Right.
And she looked similar enough to where they could pass her off as that, but that's why probably the Mystery Kiss superfan guy was being like, well, why is she like...
Is she not feeling well?
Yeah,
What's
her
going
dancing
on?
is good, and why she was, being told to watch what she ate and all that kind of stuff.
Right. So,
all right.
How does this change things, though? Because, like...
Yeah, so then was essentially then what Otakawa had the nightmare of with the dream and stuff completely unrelated?
Right,
or did
how is he connected exactly?
Yeah, did he potentially accidentally aid a murderer to kill Mitsuya?
Right, and it was totally Rui.
I mean, well, that's the one that makes the most sense right now.
Yeah.
It's the question of whether or not it's just Rui, or if it's Rui and the manager.
Yep.
We just have to wait and see on that front there. But Otakawa's plan, with everything to be set up to get Yano and Dobu, might actually all work out perfectly, especially if Little Daimon is going to do his part here.
Right.
But given that Big Daimon could very easily step into things here. Yeah. There's a couple things that are basically hanging little plot threads that all have little mini sort of Damocleses all over them, where just like they're all gonna drop like right around the same time. I can just
How will
tell.
the cookie crumble?
Yeah, exactly. But okay, yeah, y'all. Without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone. Now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below. Then come back here for the discussion.
Oh boy. Oh boy. So this is a lot more interesting than I thought the killer reveal would be, because we haven't actually gotten the killer yet.
No killer reveal. Now
Nikkaido was planning on killing her if she didn't agree.
Yes. Now there's one thing that goes against Nikkaido's story is that she's the one telling it. But other than that, I don't think she's the killer.
Yeah.
Other than that, unless she's just clearly lying. No,
right. Like we don't have it like. The way this was presented, that was her talking to herself or reminiscing about it. So there's no reason for her to be dishonest unless she also is in delusions or something.
Yeah, and I think that's a clever way for the story to communicate to us to be 100% understanding of Nikkaido's situation.
Right.
So that we don't waste time having to think about or question what she's done here. Because she clearly feels very guilty about all this. Because she could have been the one to kill her.
She had been preparing to if she needed to.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So that being said, no, I don't think Nikkaido killed her, and not only that, I don't think it's necessarily even a murder at this point. The main reason why it's a murder, reason why it's a murder is that Yano said that there was strangulation and a bludgeoning. So some kind of hard force hit Mitsuya here.
Right.
Now, the one thing that we are absolutely certain about is that she got into a taxi
with
from
Otakawa.
the convenience store.
Yep.
Yes. This is the thing, though. Most likely Otakawa. Because this is the curious part. Dobu has been holding on to the dash cam footage all this time.
Right, but Otakawa remembered her after his memory.
Right. But what's so weird about this is that Dobu then could theoretically have all the answers.
Right, I think he does, and that's why we didn't see the footage when he showed it to Otakawa, because it was the thing of like, no, it's a different person. Right.
So, is there anything in the footage that Dobu saw that could theoretically help us understand the situation here? Because I don't think there necessarily is then,
I doubt it.
Because I think he would have brought it up or used it as leverage against Otokawa.
Right. Because the show sets things up early on. Like, wait, is Otokawa the one who killed the person? Right. Because talking to someone in his closet and him seemingly thinking about the fact that a body was thrown into the river with concrete blocks tied to it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case because Dobu would have seen the footage and I don't see how that could have happened really. Maybe we're gonna have to get the whole unpacking of exactly what Otokawa's situation is, right? Yeah. And if he is the killer, then that makes it a lot more relevant to the plot rather than just Otokawa's personal story, right?
Yeah, and I think we're both in the case that it's a 99% chance that he's not the killer. Like there's very, very little reason for him to be the killer here outside of some kind of extremely unlucky circumstance,
right?
Where it's not really his fault. Yeah, like a car accident of some kind, something where he's driving late at night and his taxi goes into a situation where
we saw him almost hit Tanaka.
Right. So where he hits something really hard, she's not wearing her seatbelt, I can't see anything that would make sense here.
Right.
Like the idea of it being even like a super fan or something like that would like stalk her or something.
Well, and the thing is that the fan almost seems a bit more likely, even though we haven't been introduced to anyone other than Imai, and Imai clearly wasn't the killer because he didn't know the whole situation was going on.
Yeah.
Because the body ended up, either she died in that chair or someone knew enough to then take her body and put it in that chair, right?
Which I don't think is what's possible because that would have to be Otokawa then. Because Otokawa would probably have talked to her in the taxi ride because it's a long taxi ride.
Right, that's a good point.
That's probably the big reveal that we're being saved for, is that basically when the taxi basically came, there was a long period of time in between the drive from Nerima to the actual place where Nikkaido found her. So during that time, Otokawa learned probably a lot about her. That's why when he saw not Mitsuya, but the new girl, he was like, oh, there's very clear differences. Yeah. But he's like, it's probably nothing, so he doesn't really think much of it.
Because the people that feel like they could have been connected enough in order to have something like that happen is Nikkaido, Yamamoto, Otokawa, Mitsuya, if it was like a suicide or something.
Sure.
But that wouldn't necessarily explain the bludgeoning. And then Shiho, right? Shiho is the only person that I feel like isn't completely covered by this unless it's Mitsuya, because Rui and Yamamoto, I feel like they're both solid, right? The fact that they did sketchy stuff, but it was I come in here, I had been contemplating murder for Nikkaido. Oh shit, she's already dead. I don't know what to do. Yamamoto sees it. Oh shit. He believes that, Rui didn't kill her, so he's like, well, we do need to kind of cover this up for the sake of the idol group. So they do that, and now they're in bed with Yano and everything, and it gets all sorts of complicated, right? Yeah,
exactly.
But other than that, we don't have any characters that would have been connected to this.
We don't have a clear motive. The best motive really is Nikkaido. She has the best motive. Yeah. She was going to lose the center stage spot.
Right. And the only other character I can think that's potentially connected to it, other than if it's some sort of suicide, or Otokawa, would be Shiho, but I don't see where the motive would be for that because she wasn't going to lose anything, right? Like, and she doesn't seem like the kind of person who would kill somebody, so...
Right, so there's a lot of things that are now left up in the air, and I'm really excited for them to give us a full, reveal in the next, 2 episodes here, because that's all that's left. We only have 2 episodes.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm crazy excited about this, but I love that this was also a fun way to give us a form of exposition on catching us up to the details that we've been given all the puzzle pieces to, and then them actually forming out probably about half of the puzzle for the whole show in this one episode. They covered so many things with connecting all the dots to where the last big, reveal is basically what went on from when Otokawa picked her up to when Otokawa dropped her off. Right. We don't know when Otokawa dropped her off, but also there's that slight other side of things that I find to be really interesting. That's that she made a point about how it's going to be like a long, expensive drive and what have you. And yet Nikkaido came there later. So there's almost this potential thing of where she got there a lot faster than she necessarily planned to be there or what have you. So that could potentially be something.
Or even maybe she lied about the fact, like either it took a long time and it's like, oh, okay, so Nikkaido's like, I don't want to be waiting at this building for a long time if I'm going to be potentially killing her, right? So I want to show up just when she's going to be there. But if Mitsuya had something else maybe that she wanted to do, right?
Right.
And like, yeah, if she lives far away, then yeah, the taxi ride is going to be a long one.
Exactly,
but like that could potentially explain why she was there earlier than her.
Sure.
And then maybe that was where the thing happened that caused her to be killed. But we don't really know Mitsuya's character at all now that we think about it, right? Since we didn't actually see her much. Like, we didn't see her before in the show really anyways, because it wasn't her. And even then, her double we didn't see much of.
All we know is that she's the daughter of Don Raku, the one who had the super
Don
rare,
Chan. Oh my God.
super rare eraser thing that Tanaka wanted to get from all that time ago.
Yep.
Which is kind of crazy because that then was... It's something that... Wait. Are we basically saying that is something that's tied back into this whole situation? Like, the yen?
Know. Well, because... So, we figured out that it was probably Shirakawa that was the bid on the eraser. That was, upping it a ton.
Right.
But the seller, we don't know anything about the seller. And there's a decent chance...
There's a decent chance that it's her. I'm gonna throw out a really crazy idea here.
But what would that mean if it was, right?
Like, well, that money could have been maybe what was used to make the taxi drive or something like that. That's so she needed the money. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean that doesn't make as much sense. But basically, like, maybe that money was needed for something there. What episode was it? Where was it? Episode 5 or 4 where we had Tanaka's?
I want to say it was 4. That was Tanaka.
I want to say it was 4.
Might have been 5, but
yes, it was 4. It was 4. So he ends up trying to buy.
Right.
And he buys it for what, 100K?
100,000 yen, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where there's so many moving parts in this series that I really and we're starting to see how it ties together, but some of them just seem so disconnected, right? Like Tanaka. Yes, there's the whole thing of Shirakawa being the person who maybe, was doing the bids on the eraser and then also was like beating him in the gacha game or whatever, right? But
yeah,
like, okay, that's a fun thing of this world is a big place and the characters can bump into each other, but it doesn't necessarily have any relevance to a murder mystery, that happened, right?
Not necessarily, no.
So, yeah,
I'm really excited to basically have the reveal here, because I feel like what we're getting on the other reveals of sorts is basically like just pointing towards the idea that no, we're not gonna drip feed you those. We're gonna drip feed you more buildup for the eventual
when we're almost done with the show.
Of like a ton of reveals, because like the show's gonna be over soon.
Yeah.
So like.
But it has 13 episodes right now.
Right, 13 episodes.
Okay, that's good to know. For some reason, I thought there were 12.
And then we're building up even more the Daimon situation. Right. Big Daimon's like, all right, so we're working together. We're going to make this happen. Yeah, we're going to take down Dobu. Sure. Right. But, well,
no, I don't think he is thinking of taking down Dobu. It's I'm helping you work with Dobu.
Oh, right.
And that's why,
sorry.
And that's why Otakawa is freaking out, because he's like, okay, it's a different route. I can't use Yamamoto, and I also don't have Little Daimon. Like, did Little Daimon get guilty because he shot Dobu and went outside the law back then? Or is it that because he shot Dobu and all that stuff, they ended up finding out and he got offed, right? Like, because even the way they said it seemed to be a very similar thing to, like, the whole deal with Mitsuya of just suddenly, they've gone missing. I don't know where they are, and it's like, they might be at the bottom of a river.
Yeah.
But,
I love the Don Raku reveal as basically Don Chen, so we had heard actually the name before.
Right.
Like, it was something that we had heard, but we just didn't think anything of it.
Nope.
Which is funny because he was a famous Rakugo person, which means he would have inspired.
That's right.
He would have inspired.
They had mentioned that. Holy shit.
He would have literally inspired also
Homo sapiens?
Yeah, the Homo sapiens.
Right, yeah.
Shibagaki. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So then we had this little reveal here as well that Otokawa, once he heard that part on the TV, the rabbit who runs the restaurant also heard that, but then Otokawa has this "you can't be serious" like thing of like,
right,
no way, wait. So what about the Donraku reveal is a big deal for him? Like,
yeah, like, oh man,
there's so many things they're building up here that I just
and because I really thought we were gonna get some answers this episode, and we kind of did. We got answers in that
Nikkaido did not.
It was not her, right? Which is okay, but that's an answer that it's not that answer, right? Like,
right.
So it doesn't actually answer the question of who killed her, right?
Right.
And like, because even with the whole idea of like a suicide, even though I don't know why she would necessarily, right?
Yeah, she was maybe wanting to change up her life a little bit, but...
right? But that's a pretty strong thing for someone we don't know that well.
Yeah,
and it was strangulation and bludgeoning. Even if she like hung herself or something, you would need to have someone to move her into the seat and do all of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then also
she wouldn't have bludgeoning
beat the body or something, right? Like, yeah, like how would that happen? You know?
Yeah, and this isn't like a Bacana situation where there's some kind of supernatural element going on here where you can kind of
some
have
mystery killer that's going around
that doesn't really have any correlation to the laws of physics. I really think that what we might be setting up here is a potential like situation where the murderer is like someone that like maybe we've been given the clue like really really early on. And we've just been caught up in the weeds of all this chaos, but there was like a very simple thing that had to have happened rather early, because that's usually what happens for these kinds of shows, is where it's like, now all this other stuff ties into basically showing how these characters are connected, but has nothing to do with the murder. And
it even okay, actually, here's where there could be motive. If we look at who benefits from this, one of the people who benefited from this actually was Yano, because by disposing of the body, he got 50% of Mystery Kiss's profits.
And he was already connected with Mystery
Yamamoto.
Kiss.
Yeah.
Well, no, he was the manager.
Right, but he didn't have a foothold over Mystery Kiss, right? He was someone that Yamamoto knew he could call in a time like this, right?
Okay.
And if it were to be something like that, I could see that potentially being a way that he makes some big play to just because and Dobu even talked about how his methods for collecting money. Even Dobu was like, I don't like his the way he runs things.
Well, I mean,
and of course it could just be their rivalry, right? But
that's nothing specific. But I get what you're saying here, and that also the strongest character in this entire show is his polar bear buddy. So
sure,
that's clearly the biggest muscle person that could kill someone without even really blinking.
Because like when I think of motive and the technical ability to have this happen and have it be orchestrated, and why they would want it to be like, why would you want to leave the body there, where people are gonna find it and stuff like that, right? Like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
But
I think the oh wait.
What?
Wait, no. Yano said something back in like episode 9 or 10.
Okay.
I want to say, where he's out by the harbor, by the wharf, and he makes a mention of doing something again.
That's a good point.
I want to say it's when he's putting on the gloves.
Right, and he used it specifically as a threat to Yamamoto.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. And he was rapping, so it was one of those things where he probably let it slip because he's by himself. He's rapping. No one else necessarily really cares about. Oh, would that have been episode 10 then?
But like, if he was trying to use that as, because he was using it as a way to make sure that Yamamoto stayed in line, right? Like that. It's like, I'm in charge here. Don't fuck with me, right? Or I'll do it again. But what would he do again? Like, take another 50% of Mystery Kiss's profits?
Yeah, it might have been basically that he's still extorting them for,
right,
the money and stuff.
Hence why it's like, okay, now you're also going to run Badger games and things like that. But
right, that was part of the deal that they have to do whatever he wants in that case.
But yeah, I don't know.
Actually, was it even earlier? Because Yano's introduced relatively early, episode 7 here, where he's like basically like, yeah, you interrupted me and you like kind of, oh, this is the part. Yeah. So he's at the wharf here, he's cleaning up his hands.
Right.
He's by himself. God, I love his addiction. Wish I could take my medication and go to bed, but a container ship. Zip it. I won't do it again. I promise I won't do it again.
Right. And then, isn't it about time you told me your name and then who's calling? Okay.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily connected to that, but it's one of those things that always has like kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, okay.
Like, hey,
so if he's
talking... We have Yano rapping. Nobody else is there. So it's very important that they had this scene in here because otherwise it's wasted time.
Well, and the whole thing of like him washing his hands before putting his gloves back on.
Right.
That was originally when that happened. I thought it was because he had like just killed Shiho or something because sure. Or I can't remember how it was, but I thought maybe he had done something. He had just done something and maybe it was with Shiho because she had been saying she didn't want to do Badger games or something like that, or I can't remember.
Right.
But yeah, if that's him talking to himself, it might be that he sees himself as having basically kind of, he dirtied his own hands, he broke his own code of like how he's going to get the money or something, you know? But, I don't know.
I won't kill again, basically, like something like that.
Right.
I think we're leaping here at shadows, but
at the same time, if you have a murder mystery reveal and you don't know who the murderer is, it's just some random person, then, you know, like...
Right. Of course it's someone that we know, but it's just the idea of...
Yeah.
What'll be the clues? What'll be the things that lead up to that? But all right, okay. They had their press conference. Yep. They revealed what was going on here, and Goriki, being the friend of Otokawa, trying to
get the diary
figure out this situation here so that he can help him. And he's not doing this as his doctor. He's doing this as his friend.
Yep.
I really appreciated the voice acting because you can tell that Goriki hasn't slept in a while.
Oh yeah, he's burning the candle at both ends.
And the frustration as he's like, no, I'm not doing this just for his as his doctor. I'm doing this as his friend. Like,
the more that they keep building this up, though, the more I think it has to be something like it's like that he sees them all as animals, you know. But then,
that's definitely the case here.
There's
even some things in the clinic here where they show like a silhouette form of like a human being, like
wait, really?
In the background, of like, the human body, you know, like. Basically right here. It's like, come on.
Yeah, regular bipedal, like
yeah,
actual human. Yeah, that's a good point. But like what does that change about the murder mystery, right?
Well, I think it's the idea that the reason why it's a thing for Otokawa is because he saw each girl once without the mask.
Right.
And thus he has a reason to connect that they are different.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everyone panicked about getting his dash cam data.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing right there.
Okay.
His unique thing allows him to basically be able to see the things that make them different when most people would forget the kinds of people that they've interacted with 6 months ago, 6 weeks ago approximately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like thematically, I would think that him being sick like this and it being focused on, that's almost setting up like an Of Mice and Men Lenny kind of situation where it wasn't even a murder, it was a terrible, terrible accident as a result of maybe his illness, right?
Yeah, I
don't know how that would happen, but
I can totally see that happening, but I really, really don't want it to be that.
Yeah.
I could see that happening, but the reasons why I don't want that to happen is because then it makes this less about really where all these other characters are involved, but more that Otokawa has been a lonely guy doing his job by himself since he was like 6 years old. He's been traumatized by this whole situation where his parents tried to kill themselves or something, but also could have then been theoretically trying to kill him with them, which no one brought that up in the little thing there. The idea of, this would have been a double suicide. I'm like,
No,
didn't it say that the boy
a,
somehow survived? Wouldn't that have been a triple suicide?
Yeah,
then?
or a
murder.
Yeah, murder with a double suicide.
Yeah. So no. This is the kind of thing where Otokawa needs people. He needs friends. He needs help. He needs love. But all this other stuff pulls the story away from that.
Right.
And so I want the story to be that Otokawa can be okay because he's figured out most of his life. Even though he does need friends, he's gotten this far with the way he's done life here. Yeah. So I think the story shouldn't be about the thing of where we go back to the whole thing of where he's helpless. He has no way of doing anything here. He's, he has like, I still think he's innocent in all, for all intents and purposes here. But I could see it being a thing where maybe he blames himself because he's pretty sure, based on some of the things of the circumstances of the way that taxi drive went, the one with the OG Mitsuya, that he knows that she's probably dead now. Right,
and and a lot of that probably caused him to like blame himself or something like that. That's why he was talking to the closet.
Yeah.
And then that could be a great resolution for his character of, hey, it's not a character flaw, you're just sick, right?
Yeah.
And you need to, figure out how to deal with that.
Right.
The last thing I want to say for this episode is that Baba was awesome. Baba was awesome.
Yes, the stuff with
Nikkaido and Baba
that was so good. Such a cool reason
I've given up.
Romance of sorts.
For some reason we exchanged contact information, right? That was just wonderful. And at the same time, then that scene where he was talking with his buddy, and it's like, hey, I think we should split up.
Oh,
that was sad.
Yeah, that was sad, man. Yeah, but okay, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.